Tonight is February 18th, 2020. We're in volume 3 of Tzurba M'Rabanan, Hilchos Aveilus, Bays. We're now into the Shiva period. We dealt with what were the dinim of Aninus prior to the burial. And then we said once the burial takes place, then all the various dinim of not bathing and not wearing shoes and the prohibition of doing work begin. There was a shaila, remember, during Aninus, whether those extend. We had a machlokes, whether some people say you can wash and shave before the burial, some say you can't. But everyone holds after Aveilus, once Aveilus starts with Shiva, you cannot. We started the sugya on page 147, started on 146, in terms of what it means not being able to work. You can't go to your business for 7 days. Now, what if you have a partner? So the Shulchan Aruch says, Shneish, we're on the bottom of 147. According to the Ravid, the Gemara and the Bavli is assuming that a partner may use the animals of the partnership. Let's say the two partners own a camel that they're renting for rent, right? So the Gemara is assuming that a partner may use the animals of the partnership while the other's in mourning, and only keeping a store open to the public would be forbidden. So if it's something tziburi, let's say these two partners own a public store, so the partner would have to close the store for 7 days. He would have to close the store for 7 days, and therefore question why Mar, son of Ravacha, did not allow his partner to do so. The Gemara answered that the case of an important person is different, but otherwise it is indeed permitted. We said that the partner could go to his private home and do business. Let's say he could continue the business somehow in his private home. The partner would be allowed to do that, but not if it involves something public. And the Shulchan Aruch accepts this opinion. Shnei shutafim chen v'nim. There are two partners who own a shop. She'ira avel echad. One of them became avel. The din is noyalim chanusan. They have to lock the store. Shelo yaseh shutu b'farhesia. The partner cannot do business before Hesia. Everyone knows that this is a partnership, that this Avel is part owner, and therefore you cannot do it. If somehow it's a business that the partner can sell products from his home, especially today, computer, whatever, and you can do your business from home, he could do it b'tzina. Even though it's involving a business partnership. However, let's say the person is a known person, and in fact, it's called by his name. Let's say the business is called by his name. For example, the Kurlan Job Orthopedic Group, or my Paletz Agatston Urology Medical Group, Inc. It would be more problematic for the partner to do business privately, since the business is known by that name. That's what the Shulchan Aruch is getting at. The partner would be out of luck. Also, l'sheni lasos afil b'doch beis, says the Shulchan Aruch. The Yalkut Yosef offers a solution in terms of solving the difficulty of having the store owned, even partially by an Avel, be closed for 7 days in situations of great need. He says, Baal mifal o tachanas delek v'chadome, owner of a factory, a gas station, be a huge financial loss to close it for all 7 days. So, if let's say somebody's on this deathbed and they know that the person is going to die, so he should sell his business to a partner before the death occurs, or somebody else.
What about himself? He doesn't have to ask that when one's dying. The other partner is selling. I'm selling the business for 1 week because I have to sit shiva.
That would be, you can't do that. The partner can sell his partnership for a week. So because he's no longer a partner with it, or somebody else is running it and he's not involved. Technically, you can sell it. You can sell it right before the burial. He's saying, but after the burial, you can't sell it.
Who's going to sell it if he's dead? Who's selling it?
No, we're talking about the Avel has a partner, and he sells his business to a partner before the impending death, and then with a star.
After his death?
No, before the death.
It says after.
No, the parent,
Before
the
the-
parent dies, and he's an oval.
And he becomes an Avel. So after, you cannot do anything after the death, after the burial.
After the burial.
There's a,
Avil is selling.
one can perform the sale even after the death, before the burial, during the Aninus period, before the burial. But the Avelus, the dinim where you may not work, only starts with the burial. So once there's burial, you have no way out. And therefore the business would have to be closed for
So if
this.
you're an
Why do
accounting
that?
firm and a
Why do
partner,
that?
you're
Why-
in trouble
why-
then.
so
They
it's
will
Tax
eat-
time. It's
No,
time.
just for a
they will
week.
eat Tax time.
It's for a
Hurting
week.
Other people.
It's like selling your chametz.
Have a partnership in a
What is the
with a
reason
different
why?
name, then
What
you're
is the,
okay.
I wasn't here, I'm sorry for asking, but what is the
My
reason
partnership-
why?
So the Gemara brought
I bet
a,
they wouldn't die.
Yisrael, there was
bet.
two Amoyroim had a business with a camel, and somebody became an Avel. They can't work anymore. It's forbidden to go to do your business. It says in Masechta Moed Katan, Torah Bona, Elu Dvarim She'avel Osir Behen, Osir B'Melacha, V'Rechitza, V'Sicha, V'Tash V'Shamita, V'Nilas HaSandal. So Isra Malacha is part of it. That's part of the Avelis process. So to get out of this problem, there is an eitzah. But sometimes somebody dies suddenly. It's not everybody where there's a preparation where people know somebody's going to die, and you have the opportunity to do this. What about bathing? Ovel also brachitza. All of these dinim are learned from Yecheskel, where Yecheskel became an Ovel, and there's psukim that say, it said, Al tasuchi shemen. Al tasuchi shemen. Yecheskel is told what to do, what not to do. It says, don't anoint yourself with shemen. Or rachitza b'chlal sicha. So the Gemara learns that anointing yourself with oil is analogous to washing. So that from there, the oil can't wash. Now, of course, all the dinim of Tisha B'Av and all of that is all based on a dinim of Avelis, because it's a mini Avelis. So the source for these dinim is all related to the oil. The Gemara in Taanis clarifies that although washing one's entire body is prohibited, washing one's hands, face, and feet with cold water is permitted. The Hilchos, says the Gemara, Aval Aser Lirchotz Kol Gufo, Bein B'chamin, Bein B'tzonin, Kol Shiva. You can't even take a cold shower if you're washing your whole body. Aval Ponav Yodav V'Raglav, with cold water is permitted. B'chamin Aser, right? Aval Losach Afil Kol Shu Aser, to anoint yourself with some kind of oil, even a mashahu is not permitted. Although the Gemara does not address the status of lukewarm water, Mayim Poishrim, concerning this halacha, the Pischei Tshuva writes that it has the status of hot water, and you can't even use lukewarm water. I am the Sefer Tiferes L'Moish, Shekos the Gam Bepoishrin Aser, Koshnet Chamim Eitzel Or, Mishum Lo Plug, because they make a low plug. No difference. Hot is hot. The Gam in Derech Lechos B'Chamim Yoser Midai. In general, most people don't take baths of steaming hot water that you cook if you wash your dishes in, or so everyone always is bathing in somewhat lukewarm water. So that's the normal derech of bathing. So that's why they're asering.
Even before Shabbos, right?
Hang on.
Yeah, I don't think we discussed it.
The Shulchan Aruch cites the Gemara above as practical halacha. However, the Ramah adds that the custom is not to bathe for the entire shloshim period. Rechitza ketzad. Aser lirchotz kol gufa afilu bitzonin. Aval ponav yodav v'roglav bechamin. Aser bitzonin is aser, but bitzonin mutter. V'hayim aluchlach batit. If you're filthy, v'tzoa roichetz kedarko v'nechoshesh. Then you can wash. Says the Ramah, kol ze midina eino aser rak shiva. Me'ikra din, all this thing is only prohibited during the shiva. Aval achar kach mutter b'chitza. Ela shenohagu ha'idna lesser kol rechitza kol lamed yom. The Ramah says in Europe, the minig was that they didn't wash all 30 days. Now,
A lot of Europeans do that even today.
let's see where this ends. The Gesher Chaim, Rav Tukachinsky, based on this Shulchan Aruch, that one who is a very sensitive, he's an istinus, will be extremely uncomfortable if he does, and if he will be extremely uncomfortable if he does not bathe, is permitted to be lenient even during the Shiva. Mishu istinus harogilis rachitz. Most poskim hold that bisman hazeh, certainly of Herschel Schachter, I've heard him say this many times, bisman hazeh, where we shower every day, where we are, it's like washing your hands and face, taking a shower. So in a sense, we're all in this category. That's why they're makel during, for example, the 3 weeks and things like that. And even the 9 days, there are some poskim that are makel because people who take a shower every day, that falls under this category. Umishu istanis harogili hisrochetz. Right? It doesn't just say istanis that he's finicky. And he is in the habit of bathing every day. Of course, to the top of Chazal, that didn't exist. People didn't have the facilities to do so. And v'im eina rochetz yesh lo tsar, he doesn't take a shower, he's going to be uncomfortable. Mutter lo lisrochetz kergelo afilu b'chamin, even with hot water. This is the Gesher HaChaim. The Gesher HaChaim is the fundamental halachic source for all the dinim Aveilus. Rav Mechel Tukachinsky passed away in 1955. He lived in the Yishuv, and he was recognized by all Tzadim, even though he was close to Rav Kook, and he was, he was favorably disposed to Mizrahi. The Chizesh Yesh Lo click, he's like a dreadlock. He says saros mudbakos mefutalos barosho, some kind of hair that's bound very tightly. Mutter lo lichotz rosho b'chamin, he can wash his hair. Gamin roichetz laver alichluch mutter, right, to take baths to wash away the dirt is permitted. The aser hu rak rechitza shel tanug, for example, taking a long leisurely bath where you're enjoying. That's what's aser, says the Gesher HaChaim. Today, many are lenient to allow bathing even in hot water during shloshim. As in modern society, most individuals bathe or shower much more frequently than in earlier times, for purposes of cleanliness or hygiene, and not simply for pleasure. This type of approach is presented by Gavriel Goldman, the Rabbi of Kfar Adumim, in Me'olam V'ad Olam, which also deals with the laws of Aveilus. Ashkenazim noagim lo lisratzlach v'chitza shel tana kol shloshim. He's citing the Ramah, right, who brought down that in Ashkenaz they didn't bathe for the whole 30 days. He says, "Lemashal halicha lebrechat schiyah," for example, swimming in a pool. So that certainly would be osir. Aval rachitza lahasir zeya, but washing to remove sweat, muteris kan b'mayim chayim, even with hot water. The kol shekein l'tzorach refu'i, if there's any medical reason why he has to keep clean. Yesh mis shekoser shveret Yisrael noagim gam Ashkenazim lahakil lisrachetz lachar shiva uberprat bekayitz, even the summer, Tel Aviv summers. So those are the opinions regarding bathing. What about anointing with oil? Says Masechta Tainis, avalosuch afilu koshu oser, vimlav, or says zuama. So, but let's say the oil is being put on for smell reasons, because yes, the guidelines given by the Gemara can be applied to using deodorant. Accordingly, if one uses it to create a pleasant smell, it's prohibited. But if it's in order to remove or prevent a bad odor, it's permitted. And there's a work that they quote, Morning in Halacha. This work is a translation of a Hebrew contemporary work on the Hilchos Aveilus, but Rav Chaim Goldberg knows the Pnei Baruch. And he says the prohibition includes rubbing oneself with oil or soap, and are the most so with fragrant lotions like cologne. But the oil may use deodorant. This is the common practice. Now it follows the ruling of Rav Moshe, since the suppression of body odor is not considered a pleasure, for which a mourner must refrain. So important halacha. Prohibition of wearing shoes. Ovel aser b'nilas a sandal, mikormeli rachmanu lichezkel, v'nalecha tasim braglecha. So Hashem told Yechezkel, you, as the Navi, you must wear shoes. Michlal de kulama aser. So we are medayik from that pasuk that for the rest of us, we cannot wear shoes. The Gemara doesn't elaborate what type of shoes are forbidden. Is it all shoes or only leather shoes? The Ramban holds that just as on Yom Kippur, the prohibition is limited to leather shoes, the same is true regarding the halachos of mourning. Says the Ramban in Torah Adam, ki also remin al sandal, hani milibishel or. The Ramban says very clearly leather. Aval anpilya shel beged, but if it's made out of garment fabric, mutter. V'sandal shel sha'am, cork, nami mutter. The also b'yom kippur amimani ra'is Yisrael Rabbi ben Levi sheyatzu ben sadal shel sha'am b'yom kippur. It was quoted that Rabbi Shimon Levi went out with cork shoes. So it's only leather shoes. It's not all shoes. It's not like the guy has to go barefoot, not wear anything on his feet. But there are some poskim who are machmir concerning Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av to forbid non-leather shoes that are used in the normal manner of shoes. And the contemporary work Pnei Baruch notes that some are stringent with regards to laws of Aveilus as well. Yesh machmir b'shel eitz. Afilu einu mechupa b'or, that they won't even wear wooden shoes. Also, some are machmir not to wear made out of canvas or some kind of fabric. V'chein b'nalam shel gumi, even rubber. And he says, look at the Mishnah Berurah, Linyan Yom Kippur, v'chein hevi b'kaf ha'chaim, Linyan Tisha B'Av. So there's some machmir. Although most of the halachos Aveilus during Shiva first take effect immediately following the conclusion of the burial, the Shulchan Aruch notes that this halacha is different when it comes to wearing shoes. The Shulchan Aruch says in your day, me'emasai chala Aveilus, mishenigbar, when he's buried, v'nigbar stimas hakever, and they're finished filling the grave in, ba'afar. Miyad, maskil Aveilus, ma'atef rosho, so in earlier times they would wear a certain kind of head garment that signified you were an Avel. Aval ena cholitz min olav at shegila beis. Says the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't have to take his shoes off till he gets home. How achshav? No,
You don't take it off before you go to the cemetery. Are you allowed to?
Before
You're
you
not allowed to.
No,
On the way to the cemetery, you
No.
can't already because you already have.
you're not an Avel yet.
So you
The
can't put on
Aveilus
your-
starts after the burial. The Shulchan Aruch says, "Achshav noyagim lichlutz minol achar stimas agel miyad." Says to do it right away. Kedi isa b'simin shinayin vav. Now there are different custom nowadays as when you should remove your shoes. According to the Ashkenazic custom, as recorded by Gesher Chaim, one removes one's shoes immediately after the covering of the grave, and Rav Mordechai Eliyahu paskin that way as well. Lachar shenigbar meis v'nigbar kisui hakever mitchilas avelu, matchilas avelu. That's when it starts. Kisha Ovel b'veis hakvaros, choylet sham no'olav. The Ovel removes his shoes there in the cemetery. V'yoshev rega berichuk dalad amos me'at kvaros. He sits for a few minutes dalad amos away from the grave. Lekabel, in order, for example, there's a Kabbalah Aveilus. So he moves away dalad amos and he's makbil. There's a Kabbalah of, and the removal of the shoes technically is like the first thing that is the Kabbalah that occurs. The Oiver ben Shuras Menacha. Then he walks through the Shura. Achar kach noisim tzas offer binalav alechas ben leveso. You put some dirt in his shoes to walk home in them. I'm reading the footnote. The custom to put some earth in one's shoes anytime that they must be worn, following the commencement of the period of the morning, so that one feels uncomfortable. Like you put some like rocks in there, so you shouldn't be comfortable wearing the shoes. Rav Ovadia Yosef holds, though, that you can remove the shoes only after arriving home. He says, even though the chalos of the Aveilus has begun, so he doesn't take his shoes out until he gets his home. So it's machlokes. We Ashkenazim usually do it in the funeral, in the cemetery. We saw the Gemara quote at the beginning of the Shir that Avel is prohibited from learning Torah. Some commentaries held that this prohibition applies only on the first day of the Shiva, similar to the din of Tefillin. The Avel doesn't put on Tefillin the first day of Shiva. We're not talking about Aninos. Aninos, he's potter from everything. But even the first day of Shiva, they don't put on Tefillin because of Pe'er. It's like the Tefillin shows beauty.
It rarely happens though. Most people in the funeral.
It's already,
in the morning.
the funeral's in the afternoon, he's already put on his
No, but when they sit at the cemetery, that's already the first day.
That's right. So
the
that's right, it's
second
not,
day you can
on
put
that-
them
yes,
on, Right.
yes. We're not talking about Anina. Anina's your potter from everything.
No, but after the cemetery, the following morning, you don't put on tefillin?
Say it
No.
again?
The next day.
The following, the
No,
next day, you don't
it's
put
the
it
first
on.
day of Shiva.
You do.
It's the first, because it's only the first day of Shiva.
So the day
And
of
as you
the-
said,
But the
let
first
them-
day of Shiva ends when? The Shiva, you had the Shiva, you started at noon, that's when the cemetery.
right, so you already put on your tefillin, so you weren't
But
potter.
usually-
Unless you were in an
If you're
unknown
buried
still.
at night, but if you're buried at night, the next morning you wouldn't put on.
Yeah, in a Chanami, first day of Shiva. But and some wanted to say that learning Torah also is just the first day. So the Ramban says, that some of the poskim said that you're only also the first day to learn Torah. Mida amrina lagabi tefillin, like we say about tefillin. Al mishum de mitzvahu lo asru b'tefillin el yom rishon. Because it's a mitzvah, they didn't ask only one day. So hilkach divrei Torah nami mitzvahu ve'no yisur b'al yom rishon bilvad. That's what those poskim tried to make it sushtel to tefillin. They wanted to say it's also learning Torah is also a mitzvah, and therefore make a taste that we should be mavatal that mitzvah more than one day. So the Ramban says vein zenachon. Dim kein tashmish shamita nami mitzvahu ba'ona. Tashmish shamita also we don't say it's only even though it's a mitzvah you're only usher one day, you're also the whole time of Shiva. Ele divrei Torah dechsiv b'hu misamchei lev kol shivaim. So since the learning of Torah gladdens the heart, So it's something that shouldn't be done, all Shiva. Despite the fact that in principle this prohibition of learning Torah applies to anyone who's in mourning, the Gemara and Shulchan Aruch clarify that if the mourner is an individual whose community needs him to teach and rule on halachic issues such as the community rabbi, it is permitted in some situations for him to speak words of Torah. Says the Shulchan Aruch, "V'im tzrichim lo li'islamed." If the public needs him, mutar, he's allowed to learn Torah and teach. Uvad shel yamod turgman elayomer la'acher va'acher l'turgman. So, in the time of Chazal, they would the Rosh Yeshiva would speak, and there would be a translator either into Aramaic or to whatever the normal language was. Let's say it was Spanish at the time of Shulchan Aruch, whatever. And so here, the Rav shouldn't speak directly to the Turgman. He should speak through an intermediary to a person, and the person should say the Turgman. The Turgman Hashem Rabbi says the Ramah, "O Yidrosh Ba'atzmo," or forget the Turgman. He can do it himself. Now we don't read the Ramah is cryptic. The simple understanding of the Ramah, it seems, is that the person can give a drasha she himself, which the Yalkut Yosef reports was the practice of Rav Ovadia Yosef when his father passed away. Says the Yalkut Yosef, "B'kol makom b'nidon didan." In our case, ein tzarich lahag b'ladavar ule'eser kishiyesh be'ir tam in chacham hashavelo. Even if there's another Talmid Chacham in the city, it doesn't make a difference. He's going to say he can still teach. Shahoil v'talmidav v'gilim lavo etzlo talmid dafka. Some people have regular talmidim who are used to learning from that person. V'yadua hu ki bizmanein local Talmid Chacham yachol limshoch lev ha'am achad shoysev el chososav. Not everybody can affect the people teaching his drashas and halachas. V'tzorach kisharon miyuchad. There needs a special talent. B'manel lashon u'v'matek sfasayim, to sweeten your lips. L'moshcham b'avotot ha'ava, to like bring them close with like binds of love. V'alkein kishenimna melalas lidrosh yes b'zeh v'niyas chosarabim. So if this Avel is not going to be able to teach publicly, there's going to be a depreciation of the schus of the public. And he says, "V'chein asa ma'isa avi moiri shlita," and now zatzal, be'es evlo al aviv zal. When Rav Ovadia's father passed away, that's what he did. Shemosar es shiura kavu b'motzei Shabbos. B'nochachot k'chamish me'os, there were 500 people in attendance. Hilchos Aveilus. However, the Levush seems to have understood that the Ramah's words, that he can say the drush himself, does not refer to delivering the shir to the public. Rather, it refers to the statement in Shulchan Aruch that one may not tell the interpreter the words, but must tell someone else in between. Consequently, the Ramah is saying that the speaker may tell the entire shir directly to the interpreter, who would repeat. He doesn't have to go through the intermediary, says the Ramah. He can speak directly to the Maturgman. No intermediary is needed. If so, it would still be forbidden for the Avel to deliver a sermon or shir as usual, says the Levush. Ve'im rabim tzrichim al Islamic mutter uvad shel yamid Turgman or yidrosh ba'atzmo. He should not do it himself. Kederch she'oisek she'ena Avel. Aval yishana v'yomer la'acher v'acher yomer l'Turgman. Again, Levush says he should do it in an intermediary way. And the Gesher Chaim accepts this approach as well, and therefore writes that one is permitted to teach only in the event that the shir would be otherwise canceled. There's nobody to substitute. So first of all, if he's the community rav, and people come to him with shilas about a chicken, or is this kosher or not, or whatever, he's allowed to paskin halacha. Let's say he's a rebbe in school, or if whatever he was absent, people would be mevatel Torah. Nobody else can replace him. He's permitted to teach them. Another question that's disputed by the Rishonim with regard to Torah study is whether a mourner is permitted to study on Shabbos. On the one hand, this is an action that is done in private, as one can study Torah in the privacy of one's home. And he accepted halachic rules that actions done in private are subject to the rules of Aveilus, even on Shabbos. Means dover shebetzina, you're supposed to noyeg even Aveilus. So since people study Torah at home, maybe you would think that you can't study Torah on Shabbos either. On the other hand, Torah study is supposed to bring joy, and there's a mitzvah of being happy on Shabbos. So both of these opinions are brought in the Beis Yosef, the commentary on the Tur, Rav Yosef Karo, because of Mordechai, that yesh oisrim Talmud Torah b'Shabbos, the dami lemili ditzina, because it's considered a davar b'shabbat tzina. Aval the Ri, Hayam Matir Tamid Tor b'Shabbos, Shemesamach Salev, Utzarch L'Samech Chatzma b'Shabbos. How does the Shulchan Aruch paskin? He paskins like the Mordechai, and prohibits Torah study other than the reading of the weekly parsha Shnai Mechad Shnai Mikra Ve'echad Targum, known as Shnai, right, which is permitted. Talmud Torah Hevi Davar Shebetzina, Avalachzra Parsha, Kivin Shechai Vadam Lashni Parshasav Natzibur, Havi Kikori as Shema, which is like reading Shema, which is permitted. There are some exceptions to the rule forbidding Torah study, such as studying the laws of Aveilus, you're allowed, the laws of Tisha B'Av, the various sort of depressing nevuos of Yirmiyahu, just as it is permitted to learn those subjects on Tisha B'Av. The reason is that the prohibition of Torah study is designed to prevent an orphan from feeling the joy caused by the study. These subjects are more somber, and a person will likely not experience the same level of joy that he usually does in any event. Okay. An Avel may not greet other people. Avel aser b'she'ela shalom. The ka'omer le rachman li cheskel hamegdom. You have to stay silent. And the Moed Katan defines what stage of Aveilus is included. Ton Rabbanon, Avel, Shlosha Yomim Rishonim, Aser B'Sheila Shalom. You can't say Shalom Aleichem to somebody, first 3 days. Mishloisha V'ad Shiva Meishi Ve'ena Shoel. You can respond. So that means, the first 3 days you can't even respond. So first of all, nobody should be saying Shalom Aleichem to you anyways. But if somebody said Shalom Aleichem to you, you may not respond in the first 3 days. After the first 3 days, you may respond, but you still can't reach out and say Shalom Aleichem. Mikan ve'elech sholom meshiv kedarko. Beyond Shiva, he can go back to his normal greeting. The Riv explains that the Gemara is addressing the issue of the Avel greeting others. In this case, he is prohibited from offering any greetings during the first 3 days of Shiva, while during the rest of Shiva, he may respond to another but may not initiate a greeting. After that, he may initiate and respond. However, the Rif claims that it's also prohibited for others to greet the mourner during all 3 of these periods. And the cases referring to him responding are where the other person did not know the halach and greeted him. Like we said, you really shouldn't say Shalom Aleichem, but let's say someone said Shalom Aleichem. Now, normally, we're very strict on that, right? We just finished in the Daf Yomi, right? If you're in Kriya Shema and somebody says Sheila Shalom, can you respond? So we said if the king says it, you're allowed to respond. I mean, response is usually much more critical than initiating. So, it's insulting if you didn't respond to somebody. But the din is he's not allowed to respond for the first 3 days. So you're also not allowed to greet him. So based on the Rif's understanding, he concludes that one may not greet an Avel any time during the Shloshim or the entire year of Aveilus for a parent. Says the Rif, Avel Shloshim Rishonim Osir B'Shel Shalom, V'ilo Yodi, if a person didn't know the halacha, V'shalu B'Shlomei, and somebody said Shalom Aleichem to him, Moed Lehu Shu Avel, V'lo Mahader Lehu Shloma. What you should say is, I'm an Avel. And you should not respond. You don't respond with Aleichem Shalom or respond with the greeting. You explain to him that he's an Avel. Now, Mishloisha Vad Shiva, Ilo Yodi, if somebody didn't know the halacha and asked him Shalom Aleichem, V'shalu B'Shlomei, Mahader Lehu Shloma. He's allowed to respond. V'lo tzarach lo adinu. And you don't have to say to him, I'm an Avel. You don't have to do it. B'shiva Vad Shloishim, Hu Shal B'Shalom Acherim. He's allowed, so from Shiva until Shloshim, he's allowed to say Shalom Aleichem to other people. Sha'acherim shurim b'sholem. However, acherim ein shoelim b'shloim el lachar shloshim yom. So, the din in Shloshim, you're not supposed to say Shalom Aleichem to. You're not supposed to greet somebody in Shloshim. And that's by all the relatives except for your parents. The Aveilus ends with Shloshim. Parents go for 12 months. So the same din says the Rif. And the Shulchan Aruch rules like the Rif. Accordingly, it would seem that one may not say hello to an Avel for a full year following the death of the parent. However, the Achronim discuss whether this halacha actually applies nowadays. Some, such as Ravadia, Yosef, are lenient when one doesn't use the word shalom as a greeting. You can say hi, right? Lefi zeh yesh lomer de lagabe ha'avel shemuter levarcho yachol lomer tzafer debar. Good morning. say good morning to person. Not say Shalom Aleichem. Or the Gesher Chaim holds that this too is forbidden, since that's a normal matter of greeting someone today. No, they say good morning, and it's like saying hello.
I know it's a joke, but I once saw the comedian Modi,
Yes.
and he says the way Jews communicate at a shiva, they go, and he goes, back, so is that considered a greeting? You don't say anything, but you,
Yeah,
But
that's
people-
not a greeting.
so is that a greeting or not a greeting?
No,
It's a nodding of understanding of the
right.
bracha.
That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So that's not
thinking of-
considered
Yeah,
a
that's
greeting?
not a greeting.
Okay.
The greeting is saying Shalom Aleichem.
It's dog speaking.
Is saying Shalom Aleichem. Yeah. Now, if you did sign language Shalom Aleichem, that would be the same thing. Well, what you're saying is you're just commiserating with the Avel. You're
But
not
once
by
you're
doing
verbal,
that.
it's a different.
Well, no, greeting him. Good morning.
Okay.
Shalom Aleichem. Says the Gesher Chaim, Osra achronim la'avel loimer gam lashon safra tava. Don't say good morning either. He brings the Eliyahu Rabbah, Eshel Avram, the Chayadam. So you're talking about the major achronim in halacha. Hagad lo matzinu shei osur levarach lechaveru shar sugei brachos k'godol refuah v'chadome. Now we haven't, like for example, can you say refuah shlema? Seems like you could. Yesh lomer mekeven shetzafra tava. So like good morning is like saying Shalom Aleichem. It's like saying hello, how are you, in a sense.
Does it say anything about texting or greetings by email or writing?
I would say that's the same.
So
You can say, but many times you say you should be comforted in the mourners
Right.
of Zion. You don't say hi, how are you? How are you doing?
people may say, "How are you doing?"
Okay, so they don't know. So
then
you have to
can't
say I'm in Avel.
Yeah.
You'd have to say I'm in
I
Avel.
don't think when you say how you doing, you're not talking, it's not really a greeting, when you're saying how you doing.
It's just a formality.
It's it's not a greeting.
They don't really care
How are you doing?
They don't care how you're doing.
I mean, how are you feeling? I know you're feeling bad, but what are exactly?
Okay, well, you didn't say Shalom Aleichem. I mean, they're trying to be pretty specific here, or saying like good morning is a greeting,
How about handshake?
Ooh.
That lachor I would say is similar to Shalom Aleichem. No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was once at
and he didn't want to take.
No,
Yeah.
even at the cemetery. But they were also mocked that even people who weren't Avelim wouldn't be shaking each other's hands at the kever.
At the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that you're not supposed to say
Because you're
in general. You
embarrassing-
should, but the
because you're
din is with,
embarrassing the
but the
Avel.
din is with the Avel.
It's the
Yeah, but when you go and sit down with them and you get out.
I would
you
say
don't
a
shake
hug.
someone's hand, do
I would
you?
say Hilla brings up a good point.
You don't
A hug
do
is
that.
different than a handshake.
people
A
hug.
handshake is a
I see
greeting,
people hugging.
and hugging somebody is you're commiserating with
I see
them,
hugging.
huh?
Absolutely.
Right?
Part of signing, right?
Okay, I mean, we're now expanding the halacha. They haven't said this, but
Friendly, trying to
Instead of a
be
greeting,
nice.
it's awkward. To show
Commiserate.
person that, you put your arm around them,
Yeah.
or give them a hug. I think it's not greeting them, you're comforting
Yeah,
them. That's
yeah.
the whole point of
yeah,
greeting.
I agree, but I think a handshake could be problematic.
Yeah.
Some of the halachas of Aveil apply not only during the period of Shiva, but extend through the period of Shloshim, and for some, beyond. One example is the prohibition of shaving and taking haircuts. The Mishnah Masechta Smachos forbid it for 30 days. It says, L'tispor's ketzad, osir b'netilas seyar, echad rosh v'echad sfamo, v'echad skano. It says, you're prohibited to remove hair, whether it's on your head, mustache, or beard, v'echad kol seyar shabo, and any hair, right? Kishem she'osir b'netilas seyar kol shiva, kach osir b'netilas seyar b'toch shloshim la'achar shiva. So the Masechta Smachos, which has a lot of the Hilchos Aveilus, says it extends through 30 days. Gemara Moed Cotton clarifies that this 30-day time frame applies only regarding relatives other than one's parents. But one must refrain from shaving and haircuts for a longer period of time when in mourning for a parent. How long? We're going to see. It says in Masechta, Al kol ha-mesim kulam mistaper la'achar shloshim yom. Al aviv al imo ad sheyigar bo chavero. So there's the shear is given until his friends yell at him and say, "What are you, a hippie?" Right?
You look terrible.
That's what it is. That's called until yigarbo. Now, what does that mean? The Shulchan Aruch cites this ruling as the practical halacha, brings the moed cut, and then Ramah adds that even if 30 days have passed and one of the Yom Tovim arrive, one may still not take a haircut unless he has been rebuked by his friend. So Yom Tov is not a reason to break the Aveilus regarding taking a haircut. If his friends do not rebuke him, and today, who rebukes somebody? Maybe he's growing his beard for fashion or whatever. Okay, he should wait three.
The wife.
So the Allah.
You look terrible.
You know what?
So that's the same.
That's what your friends do.
So the halacha is he should wait 3 months before taking a haircut regarding parents. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Kol hamesim megalech lachar shloshim, alavi v'alima chigar bo chavera. Says the Shulchan Aruch. He didn't frame it regarding calendric time. Says the Ramah, ve'ein haregel mahani impog according shigar bo chavera. So, for example, let's say there's a yontif that's starting 2 weeks after shloshim, and he hadn't been rebuked yet. He has no heter to take a haircut before the yontif. Says the Ramah, v'shir ga'ara yeshbo plugta. There's a machlokas what this shear is in time-wise. V'noyagim begimel chadoshim, says the Ramah. 3 months. That's the minute. Gesher Chaim accepts this ruling of the Ramah to wait 3 months, if no one rebukes the Ovel. But he adds that many have the custom to wait until one hair feels too long and is difficult to care for. V'chol stam shir ga'ar gimel chadoshim, el shirab noagim ad machbid alav aser, until it's like hard for him to wear his hair. Rav Avadia Yosef writes that a Svardi Ovel may take a haircut after 2 months, even if no one has rebuked him yet.
No, after.
Yeah, after 2 months.
If no one, not even.
If no one has rebuked him yet. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Meaning, even if somebody hasn't rebuked, remember we said, let's say somebody rebukes you 2 weeks after Shloshim, take a haircut. Okay? So what he's saying is, even if no one has rebuked him, he already can take the haircut at 2 months.
But on a beard, it's a little different. On a beard.
Well, hang on, we're gonna get beards.
We're talking, is this beard
No,
and haircuts?
this is haircut. Up
This
until now,
haircuts, okay.
haircuts. Well, right now we're talking about histaprus, which is haircuts. Mikol makom ledidon, near the naktiran kidivrei marna beis Yosef der Rambam, uvishar yomi rabbi ma'od, shar filu below ga'ara, v'dai b'shnei chadoshim, he says 2 months is enough. Uvagar mutar filu b'yom shloshim, means if somebody yells at him even on the 30th day, he can already take a haircut. Now, Jerry, in response to your question, does shaving have the same status according to what we've just laid down regarding haircuts? The Pischei Tshuva cites the Noida B'Yehuda and the Chassam Sofer, who note that in their time, many people shaved more frequently than they took haircuts. If so, it would be permitted to shave within less than 2 or 3 months, because since even in their time they shaved more frequently, they could shave before 2 or 3 months. Now there's a chair here. Says the Pischei Tshuva, Ein b'Tshuvas Noida B'Yehuda. B'sofo shekosav demasha amar shir gar gimel chadoshim. We said that an Ovel has to wear he can't take a haircut until his friends yell at him that he looks like a hippie. And that if no one yelled at him, the Ashkenazim can take a haircut by 3 months. Now we're dealing with shaving. So he says, Shir gar gimel chadoshim, hainu le'elu shemegalchim rak rosham. That's referring to people who are only taking haircuts. Aval le'elu shemegalchim zakenim, the people who shave their beards. Shir gar zman kotzer yoser. The period where you could already start taking a shave is earlier. V'chein kosav b'tshuvas Chassam Sofer, the livnei Ashkenaz regim laglech zakanim shir gar shloishim yom. So he says it's 30 days. So after 30 days, you could already take a shave, which I think is the minig. Even for parents, most people take a shave after shloshim, according to this Pischei Tshuva, because he gives you a heter to do so regarding shaving at 30 days. Nowadays, when shaving is even more common than it was in earlier times, the Pnei Baruch rules that one may shave immediately following the end of the shloshim period based on the Chassam Sofer, like we said. What about going to simchas? Another halacha that extends beyond the shiva is the prohibition of celebrating joyous occasions. A common question that arises during the shloshim, the 12 months, is whether one may attend the wedding, or at least the chuppah, or other simchas of a relative. The Gemara Moed Katan states that one who is in Aveilus for relatives other than one's parents may not enter a place of celebration for 30 days, while one in Avelis for his mother or father, may not do so for 12 months. Says the Moed Katan, Al kol hamesim kulam nichnas lebeis hashimcha la'achar shloshim yom. You're not allowed to go into a celebratory Suda until after 30 days. Alavi valima la'achar 12 chodesh. Shulchan Aruch brings it down from the Gemara. Kol mesim nichnas lebeis hamishta la'achar shloshim yom. Alavi valima la'achar yud beis chodesh. Va'af im hashana mehuberes muter la'achar yud beis chodesh. So first he says the halacha that if it's a 13-month year, you can already stop after 12 months. It's not a full year. You don't have to add 13 months. It's just after 12 months. It seems clear then that one may not attend a wedding while in Avelis, which extends for close to a full year for the death of the parent. But if a close relative, such as a child, brother, or nephew, gets married while one is in Avelis, does this mean that one must skip the wedding entirely? This would, of course, cause tremendous anguish to the Avel, who would be forced to miss a momentous family simcha. There are at least two possible options that an individual in this situation can consider. The first is attending the chuppah without attending the meal or the dancing. That doesn't seem to be a problem. This suggestion is subject to a dispute in the Tur. Says the Tur, Yesh noagim lahakil b'chnisas beis hamishte ulahasiv sham b'shas simcha. He can enter into the beis hasimcha ulahasiv sham b'shas simcha. The only prohibition is to eat with the people eating. There's no real party unless you're eating and drinking. So one opinion was he could go and sit there. Rav Yehuda Albert Sluni Kosav came. Shekach yesh noagim likanis toch yuz beis chodesh l'chuppah lishmoa bracha o levaker avalo le'echol. So one opinion of the Rishonim was he could go, but not to eat. But v'yesh machmirin she'ein nichnas klal. Baramban kosav she'osur likanis sham klal. Bein b'shas achila, bein b'shas she'oskim sham b'mizmutei chosen v'kala, like they're singing, they're serenading the chosen v'kala. B'kach kosav avi harosh, right? The Tur was Yaakov ben Harosh, right? So he refers to his father, the Rosh, who asers as well. So the Ramban and the Rosh says you can't go at all. V'chein noagim ba'Ashkenaz. The whole Yud Beis Chodesh oimed chutz lebeis lebayis lishmoa brachos ve'en nichos lebayis klal. So they used to do the wedding in a home, and he could not go inside even to hear the brachos. He would have to stand outside and hear it from outside.
So within 30 days.
So far that's the Tur. That's not we haven't brought down the halacha yet. This is right.
But within 30 days, everyone agrees there's no way you could go to a wedding.
Hang on. We're not there yet.
There was John.
Right now, we're saying, let's see what the Shulchan Aruch says. Likanis l'chuppah shelo b'shas achila, lishma brachos, yesh matir v'yesh oisrim. So the Shulchan Aruch brings the machlokas, that to go to the chuppah to hear the brachos, not to attend the party where they're eating, he says there was machlokas. We brought the Rishon, Rav Albert Sluni, who permitted it, and we brought the Ramban and the Rosh who prohibited it. And the Shulchan Aruch seems to be noite, like the Rosh and the Ramban, not to allow you to go inside. Says the Ramah, the Ramah says the same thing. You may not enter the house at all when they're singing the songs for the bride and groom. It seems from here, because the Ramah only said you shouldn't go into the house to listen to the singing. What would be medayik from there? That maybe you could go into the house to hear the brachos for the chuppah. And that's what they say in the foot. We're not there yet. It seems from here. Here we're talking about just, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be a waiter, you don't have to be a photographer. Here we're talking about just going without doing anything. It seems from here that it may be permitted, according to Ramah, to attend the chuppah if one leaves before the dancing music begins. This is sometimes the approach given by poskim with regards to relatives of the chosn or kala who are in Aveilus but wish to attend the chuppah. So, Jerry, this is what if someone had a close relative, so some would permit them to go to the chuppah, and that's it.
Even within 30 days.
This
We're
is-
talking about within 30 days. You're
yes,
still allowed. to.
Yes. This is during this period of time where you're prohibited. If there is a close relative, according to this Ramah, you could go to attend the chuppah only. You have to leave before the music starts when they dance them away, and you can't go into the place. So that's also, I mean, some people want to attend more of the wedding than that. But right now, it seems that that's an approach for family members. Another option is suggested by the Ramah, according to which one may serve as a waiter or some similar role at the wedding, and therefore be present at the Suda itself, right? Yesh, so it's the Ramah who gives us this Eitzah. Yesh matirim la'avel le'echol besudas nesuyin, so he can eat there, or bris milah, imam meshamshin, with the servers, the shamoshim are the waiters. So he has to sit with them, can't sit in the middle of the party, he has to sit off to the side with the meshamshin, uvad shlo yeh b'makom simcha, k'gon b'makom acher, he has to be somewhere else. The v'yesh oisrim, Ramos says there's people who prohibit this as well. V'chein noagin rak sha'avul meshamisham im yirtzeh, and the minig is, he can sit there, and whatever they send him to eat, he says, that's the Yesh Osrim. So Rav Gavriel Goldman presents the common custom today, which is similar to that discussed by the Ramah. He says an Avel at any time during the Aveilus can go to the chuppah. Now remember, okay, the problem is during Shiva, you cannot allowed to go out of your house. So we're not talking about that period of time because you can't leave your house. Right? There are the seventh day, right? The seventh day of Shiva. There are Tzika has a whole shiur. Bernie Wiesel. It happened, and he has something in Ratz Katzvi regarding the last day. There's some matirim there, but otherwise, I'm not sure there's a heter otherwise. But we're talking about beyond Shiva, right? Mutter lavel yos nochach b'chuppah lishmos habrachos. Ach osur lo lishtatef b'seuda. He can't participate in the Suda. But if there's a need, i.e., the child is going to be inconsolable if the parent is not there. Yesh matirim lo'avel b'toch shloshim b'toch 12 chodesh. Notice it doesn't say b'toch shiva. We're talking about shloshim b'toch 12 chodesh. Alav yivom aliyos meshamish b'suda ke'ein melzar ve'le'echol b'shulchan stadi. So you have to sit sort of on a side table. It's another part of this, waiter thing. It's not you can sit in a regular seat. You got to sit in a side place. Of course, not in the dancing. This heter is only for relatives. If it's for a friend, unfortunately you can't go. And Rav Ovadia also presents a similar approach and permits a parent to be present at the wedding of their child, even when they're in Aveilus. The reason that the halacha takes into consideration the anguish that would be caused to the chassan kal if the parent missed the wedding.
Well, very liberal, this Rabbi Yosef. I mean, he really, almost on everything, gives an exception to the rule.
Not always. Not always. We had areas, not always. It says, Harim shel chassan v'kala hanimtzaim b'toch shana leptirat avaim. He says, if you're in Aveilus for a parent, she'im lo yunochachim b'chatnut b'neim hadavar yigrum l'tzar rav l'chassan v'kala. If they were not present at the wedding of their children, the children would be unconsolable. Yicholim lahakel. So there's reason to be makel. Lishtatev b'chatuna shel b'neim, to participate. L'yos nochim beis ha'chuppah. Ula achar mikein, and even after the chuppah. Ve'ein loharim litchos es chatunas bitam avinam ad shisayim esiyu beis chodesh shalem alav ha'im. Look at this. A parent is not permitted to push off the wedding of their children beyond the Yud Beis Chodesh. Ela adirabba, mitzvah leim l'zaris is a chatuna. No, they should speed it up, if anything. Ume Hashem yisu bracha. This will allow bracha to flow. They shouldn't turn the happiness of the chas and the kala to anguish. Because of the fact that there's an absence in the life of one of the parents. It's a chet. Even the neshama of Nisr is being affected. They do it at the right time. It will be the niftar will have nachas ruach. I'll call mishpacha. He will pray in Shamayim. Rav Ovadia is trying to give support right? Obviously, to those Sfardim that were probably very, then his words are very strong here, right? Very strong, telling them that you shouldn't postpone it and you should go. Other relatives, not just parents. Now he says, "V'mein sham tizmors." If there's no orchestra, Rishayim gam lios b'seuda. Kol sheyesh l'chosen tsar, ma'ay asher tatvim b'chatuna. That as long as there's no band, where the groom and the bride will be upset if they're not there. Aval lo yachlu b'seuda zel b'cheder tzadi. He shouldn't eat publicly. He should eat in a side room. He should try to serve the guests. He should really act like a waiter. Lagish lahem kibud, showing people covet. When the music is playing, you should go immediately out of the room.
There's in Kol Shekin, when the parent is paying for it, it's like that, it's also gives him,
It's going to make him agmas nefesh by not being there.
Exactly.
Well, that's okay. We want him to have agmas nefesh.
No, I'm saying, if it's costing, a lot of money for the parent, okay, so it's not like they have there's some, if the Alva is one paying for the wedding, right? In a sense, they're mishamish the wedding.
Okay, it's certainly right in Hanami. So you want to say just the fact that they're paying for it may fulfill this concept.
Mishamish, yeah.
Yeah, but you see that there's sort of like a hatzaga going on. You want to make sure that the people see you, that you're not eating with everybody else, and that you're like there's a certain like some Marsayan kind of thing, because otherwise it's a lack of covet for the niftar. If they see somebody celebrating or something, so it's also important to follow these rules. What about other smachos other than weddings? And a sudas mitzvah that an ovel may be invited, either the shloshim or year of mourning for the parents, such as a bris milah, a bar mitzvah, a siyum. Is the ovel permitted to participate in such events? The Ramah addresses this question and presents multiple customs, though he ultimately appears to side with the more stringent opinion, except when the Suda is held in his own home. Aval Sudas mitzvah, the less be simcha. Simcha is usually referenced only to weddings, because that's why we say Shah Simcha Bimino. So other Sudas mitzvah, they don't have the same level of Simcha. That's what he means. So mutar likanis b'kagon, pidina ben, or Sudas bris milah, umutar lechol sham, afilu toch shiva. Uvad shlo yitzeh mi pesach beisa. The only way that would happen is if it was done in his own house, then he could eat there. V'yesh oisrim b'sudas bris milah. Some say no, even if it was on his house, he wouldn't be able to eat there. V'minak shelo lechol b'shum suda ba'olam kol yud beis chodesh. The minhag is not to eat in any suda, all 12 months. Imu chutz lebeito. Uv'toch habayis makilin she'olcha bebeito b'sudas bris milah. So if a bris is being taken place in his house, he could eat at that suda. Otherwise, the Ramah is very machmir here. He says not to go to any suda outside. That are not in his house. According to the Ramah, it would seem that unless the suda is in the home of the Avel, he should not be present during the suda of a bris, pidina ben, bar mitzvah, and the like. Nevertheless, the Pnei Baruch rules, based on the Gesher HaChaim, that it is permitted to attend the ceremony of the pidina ben, as long as you leave before the suda. Or, for example, the bris, right? There's a ceremony, then you leave. Mutar la v'lachar shiva lishtatev b'bris milah pidina ben, bar mitzvah, utnoyim, shelo b'sas suda, as long as it's not during the suda. Umutar litom shamine merkachos uchadoma. You could take a pastry. You don't have to go hungry. Achim yesham rikudim. If there's dancing, or tizmort yesh liman administrative, you have to
They don't
not participate.
differentiate whether this is a bris of a relative.
No, you could go. It's a sudas mitzvah that you've been invited to. In a chanami, it's not a relative. Relatives would. He said by relative there are reasons to go,
No,
almost
I'm
like a
saying
wedding.
For a bris.
For a bris, he meant
Did he say?
Not necessarily to
Yeah,
a
but
relative.
then he passed the Ramah.
You are permitted to
He
attend
pays
even of a
fine.
friend.
No, but the Ramah says you can't.
The Ramah says you can.
So how if somebody, God forbid, loses a parent and then has a child? He or she can't be at the breast of his own child?
No, if it was in your home, he could eat. He could eat it.
They have to be-
She'oichel b'vei sudaso bris milah. He could eat it in. He could be attended if it's his own home.
Has to be in the home.
Yeah. And you can attend the pinyan ben, and you can attend the bris. You just can't eat there. And the Pnei Baruch says, yeah, the Pnei Baruch says basically the same thing. The Chidor writes that the custom of the Sephardim is to be lenient regarding such meals, as long as there's no musical instruments. So again, the Sephardim have it over us. So first of all, like we said, a wedding is the only time we have special simcha b'mono. All these other simchas don't have it. Not a bar mitzvah, not a pinyan ben, not a bris milah. Meaning that, so it's less problematic because an avel shouldn't be b'simcha. So the eina resim chabino b'sudas milah. The mutter lo aveli kanis b'sudas bris milah. The eina suda simcha. He b'chlal says it's not a suda simcha. For yadua da anan lo nogim k'mashakos of maram shelo leisha b'shum suda. We're not noyeg that you can't eat in any suda. Aval kol she'eina suda simcha mesev o aveli moem. As long as it's not a meal of simcha, the person can sit there. There are other joy. I'm reading the
So then
footnote.
you wouldn't be able to get a shiva brachos.
There are other joyous or celebratory gatherings that are dealt with as well by the poskim, such as a fundraising dinner, Chanukah Sabayis, celebrating for moving into and large Shabbos holiday meals, which deals with, since opinions differ on some of these issues, each case is somewhat different, you should discuss it with your Moira Hoira.
So Kiddush,
And
forget
that's
it. Shabbos Kiddush, forget it. Right?
Some people are no hey.
Shabbos Kiddush, are you allowed to?
So we've seen so far that the Shita of the Ramah is not to go to any Suda outside of your house. Period.
It depends whether Kiddush is considered a Suda or not. The Kiddush is considered, but he doesn't.
Well, you saw the Pnei Baruch allowed you to eat pastries. For example, you shouldn't sit down at the Suda, but he allowed you to eat merkachim at the bris.
So if Yad makes a Kiddush, and they're all standing up, are you allowed to go, yes or no?
So you could go to the bar mitzvah, but not to the meal.
You can't go to the.
If it's a meal, you're not. You can't. You can, a sit-down meal, you can't participate.
Ernie, how come he doesn't mention shiva brachos?
It's the same.
You stand up?
I would say it's exactly the same as
up.
Sudas. Oh, but there you say simcha b'mono, so that would be word. That's a bigger problem. Shava bracha. Yeah, because simcha for a relative, yes. For a non-relative, no. Certainly not. No. The wedding issues are you only can. The heter to go to a wedding was only for your relative. You absolutely cannot go to a wedding if it's not a
But
relative.
it's not a wedding.
Say again.
It's not a wedding.
But you say simcha b'mono by the benching. So that's got the same level of simcha. It's different than a bris milah and a pidyon ben. So the sheva brachas, you could have the same question regarding if it's a family. So if they would be in anguish if you didn't attend it, so you could attend that.
So you're saying
But to go to a sheva brachas of a friend, you would not be allowed to go to that.
It's equivalent to a wedding. You're saying.
It's a suda simcha.
It's all one
You wouldn't be able to go to and there the whole thing is a suda. By a wedding, you have a chuppah, there's a ceremony you can attend and then leave. The whole Sheva Brachas is a meal.
But there's
Right?
no mention about going to someone's home, like.
By the way, Sheva Brachas,
dinner.
what Walter said, the Sheva Brachas,
Yeah.
maybe you don't go to the meal and you show up for the Brachas. Like we said, the person could come for the chuppah Brachas, right? That could fall under the same category. That's like the coming to the ceremony of the bris or the pinyan ben, but not stay for the meal.
Yeah, I've said there's no mention.
Doesn't say they don't. He doesn't deal with it. I think it's a good issue. Let's see. Let's finish. So we can start next week with Aveilus 3. Modern poskim add that based on the notion that a Avil may not participate in joyous events such as the one discussed, it's also forbidden to listen to music during the entire Shloshim period or during the 12 months following the death of a parent. Also, Avil called Yud Beis Chashmo Klei Zemer Afilu Shelo B'Mokum Simcha. You can't listen to any music, even whether you're at a simcha place or not. The kol shekain l'nagin ba'atzmo, he shouldn't play guitar on his own. Ach l'tzarach parnaso muter. If he's in a band, he makes his living that way, he's allowed to play. Let's look at the footnote on the bottom, 15. Most poskim assume that the ban on listening to music applies to recorded music as well, though there are some differing opinions on the matter. In general, The details of Beit HaKazon are very similar to those concerned listening to music during the period of Sfirsa Omer in the 3 weeks. Rav Gariel Goldman makes an important comment as well, citing Rav Mordechai and Rav Shlomo Aviner, that the family of the Ovel is not obligated to ban music in the home during the entire mourning period on account of the mourner. Just because there's, right, other people in the family can listen to music. Similarly, the mourner is not required to close his ears when they are playing music. And the same applies to colleagues at work or others in the car with them. Nevertheless, he should try to avoid deriving enjoyment from the music and should not intentionally go to a place where music is playing if he has no reason to. They, in turn, should try not to play especially loud music. As with the issue in the previous footnote, it's advisable to discuss, anything with a moira.
Johnny had a good question.